If you've ever made money from trading and still felt empty, this video isn't about the market, it's about you. Back then, I was a line cook at a restaurant in New York. Not a fine dining place, just a small spot somewhere in Manhattan, busy enough that days off didn't exist. My shift started at 11 in the morning, ended sometime after 11 at night, every single day. The smell of burnt butter, grilled meat, and hot oil clung to my clothes. Order bells rang without mercy. Pans slammed against cast iron. My shirt was always soaked through with sweat. New York doesn't sleep at night. After 11, the city doesn't slow down. It just changes rhythm. Yellow taxis kept moving. Horns echoed through narrow streets. Bars were packed. Music spilled onto the sidewalks, mixing with cigarette smoke in the cold night air. The restaurant I worked at was slightly off the main stretch. Not far from the center, but far enough to close a few hours earlier. That was when I met someone. His name was Michael. He managed a Japanese restaurant a few blocks away. Almost every night after his shift, he stopped by my place, ordered a soda, leaned against the kitchen counter, smiled like someone who was tired in a familiar way. Want to go up to the rooftop for a bit? Just get some air, clear the head. So we climbed up to the rooftop of an old building. Not high, but high enough to look down at rows of lights that never went out. There were a few cans of beer up there, some cigarette smoke, long silences between sentences, and the kind of conversations men only have when they're too tired to pretend they're strong. One night, after the second beer, Michael pulled out his phone, opened an app I'd never seen before. The screen kept flashing, green and red lines moving non-stop, prices climbing and dropping without rest. I asked, "What's that?" He smiled, took a long drag and said, "Forex, money. Money moving around the world." Then he started explaining, in a voice that sounded different from before, how people made money from price movement, how if you guessed the direction right, money flowed into your account. Buy and sell, pips, margin. It sounded simple and dangerous and strangely attractive, like a game that he believed only required enough focus to win. At the time, I didn't understand much, but Michael's eyes lit up in a way I hadn't seen before, like someone who had caught a glimpse of opportunity in a city that never sleeps, and believed all he had to do was reach for the right spot. That night, I got home very late. My body was exhausted, but my mind refused to rest. I opened my laptop, typed into Google, "What is Forex?" Japanese candlestick chart, how to trade Forex for beginners. I fell into forums, watched foreign videos, listened to calm, confident voices talking about money. I didn't know it then, but that night, in a small room in New York, was the first time I stepped onto a path that would change me for many years to come. Michael explained things slowly, not like a lecture, just talking and pointing at the screen, as if he was showing me something ordinary to him, but completely new to me. And somewhere along the way, without realizing when it happened, I was pulled in. That was my first step into the market. Not because I was broke, not because I dreamed of getting rich fast, just because of one night on a rooftop, a few cheap beers, and the look in someone's eyes who truly believed he had just found a way out. A few months later, Michael quit his job. I heard he borrowed money to recover a big position, but it didn't come back. He moved back to another state. We lost contact. No goodbye. Nothing. Trading doesn't arrive like a storm. It comes quietly, like a harmless invitation. But once you step in without enough clarity, it can take away a lot of things before you even realize what's happening. After my first winning trade, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was happy, but because a voice kept repeating in my head, "I need to take this seriously. This is the opportunity." The next morning, I took half a day off work, gathered every dollar I had saved, took the subway down to Midtown. I walked into a used electronics shop and bought a second-hand laptop. Not to watch movies, not to study, but to trade. The machine was slow. The fan was loud, the battery barely lasted an hour, but I held it like something precious, as if my future was sitting inside that worn-out shell. I installed the trading platform, logged into my account, opened the charts. Green and red candles flickered non-stop. My heart started racing like I had just discovered a new pulse for my life. In the days that followed, I was no longer just a line cook clocking out at 11. In my head, I was already a semi-professional trader. I sat in small cafes around Manhattan, coffee growing cold on the table, that old laptop open in front of me. I stared at the charts as if I were controlling a piece of the global financial system. Every time I won a trade, I painted a future in my mind. Just one more year. No more kitchen shifts. No more asking for hours. Morning coffee. Afternoons somewhere far away. Just press buy or sell at the right moment, and money would flow in. But reality didn't follow the script. I started losing.
Trades that felt almost guaranteed hit stop loss within minutes. Price levels I believed would reverse kept falling straight through without hesitation. And then I added more money. $100, $200. Every deposit came with the same promise. Just one more time. That laptop became my closest companion, and at the same time, the clearest mirror of my helplessness every night. It didn't need to say anything. Turning on the chart was enough.
All it took was one long red candle for me to know I was wrong again. But the most haunting part wasn't the loss itself. It was the fact that even when I knew I was losing, knew very clearly that I was wrong, I still couldn't stop. Like a gambler in a well-tailored suit walking into a casino, sitting down at the table with a naive belief, I'm different from the rest. In the end, the outcome was the same. After a few years of grinding, I managed to open a small shop in New York. Not big, not on a prime street, but enough to leave me with a steady surplus each month. For someone who used to work kitchen shifts, that was a long road. I thought I was stable. I thought I had changed. And then, like a loop no one warns you about, I returned to the market. This time, I didn't trade like I did when I was younger. I prepared carefully. I made plans. I calculated. And I wired $10,000 straight into my account. I did the math seriously. Just 5% a month. After 6 months, I'd have a few thousand more. Enough to rotate capital, expand the shop without borrowing from anyone. What surprised me was I won. The first trade made over $500. The next added another $700. There were sessions where I made more than $1,000 in just a few hours. I felt like I had stepped into a different level, no longer the amateur holding losing trades like before. I believed this time I had control. I started withdrawing profits regularly. Each time I saw money hit my bank account, I told myself, this is how money is supposed to be made. Not with sweat in a kitchen, but with the mind. And then I started losing. The 7th trade went against me. The 8th sank deeper into red. I didn't cut it. I added more. There was only one thought left in my head. It will turn around. Within 2 weeks, nearly $4,000 was gone. I added another $2,000 to recover. I told no one, I complained to no one, but inside, something started to go cold. I sat frozen in front of the laptop, cigarette smoke hanging in the air, an overflowing ashtray, sunken eyes, a body completely drained. And then I recognized something painfully familiar. I was back to the same image from years ago, sitting on a rooftop, watching flickering charts, believing my life was about to change. There was only one difference. This time, I wasn't young anymore. I wasn't allowed to be wrong. But the market doesn't spare you just because you've tried before. A few weeks later, I was completely wiped out. The account went from $10,000 to $927. In total, I lost nearly $15,000, an amount equal to almost a year of saving, working, and living carefully. And the most painful part was this. What I lost wasn't taken by anyone else. It was taken by me. I still went to work every day, still talked normally, still smiled when I needed to. But every night when I opened my laptop and looked back at the charts, one thing became painfully clear. Silence. Not the silence of the market, but my own. A man who once believed he had overcome himself, only to end up destroying with his own hands everything he had built. That was when I finally admitted something to myself. Trading doesn't teach you how to win. It only shows you who you are when you start losing. After the drop of nearly $15,000, I stopped trading. Not because I became wise, but because I was empty. Out of money, out of reasons, and out of emotion. And yet one night I opened the chart again. Price was coming back to a familiar zone. The pattern looked textbook perfect. I stared at the screen and my hand started to itch. No one pushed me, no one pressured me, but inside a small voice whispered,
If you had cut earlier that time, if you had entered more precisely, things would have been different. Does that sound familiar? That's the gambler's mindset. Never believing you were wrong, only believing you were wrong in execution. And the most dangerous thing in trading is not losing, it's winning too early. From my very first trades, I had wins, and those early wins created a powerful illusion inside me, the illusion of control. I thought I understood the market. I thought I had a strategy. I thought I had leveled up. But the truth was far simpler. I was just lucky, like a gambler walking into a casino for the first time and hitting big. You know this, right? A gambler doesn't lose because he's stupid. He loses because he believes he's smart. Trading is the same. So many people enter the market armed with knowledge, candlestick patterns, indicators, risk management, but deep down, they're no different from placing bets in a game they believe they're controlling. I used to believe I was disciplined, but when trades went negative, I didn't cut them. I used to believe I had a strategy, but when losses came, I broke the plan. I thought I had learned enough not to repeat old mistakes, and yet I still held on, still added more, and still blew the account. Trading doesn't turn you into a gambler. It only strips away the layers and reveals who you already are. It exposes everything: greed, fear of losing money, arrogance after winning, and something few people admit: addiction to the market. Worse than losing money is losing the ability to see yourself clearly. I once thought I was investing, but in reality, I was chasing the feeling of that first winning trade. I wasn't trading to make profit. I was trading to feel right, smart, invincible. And that is the most dangerous loop of all. A gambler doesn't play for money. He plays to feel he isn't wrong. A trader no longer trades for strategy, but trades to recover lost belief. After that time, I stopped trading, not because I hated the market, but because I was empty, out of money, out of reasons, and out of emotion.
Not because I stopped believing in trading, but because I stopped believing in myself. Every time I opened the chart, I no longer saw opportunity. I only saw nights of holding losing trades, mindless mouse clicks, silent withdrawals, and a feeling that was hard to name: shame. Shame from watching the balance shrink day by day. There were moments I sat there calculating for a long time, nearly $15,000. Enough to open another small shop, enough to buy the car I once promised my mother, enough to start over in many ways. But then, I understood something else. I didn't lose money. I paid for a lesson no one teaches, no book explains clearly, no course warns you about. That the moment you believe you are in control of the market is the exact moment you are losing control the most. After that loss, I almost disappeared from trading. For 3 straight months, I didn't open MT4. I returned to a normal rhythm of life in New York, went to work consistently, woke up early, paid off debt little by little. I stayed silent toward everyone who once thought I was good at trading. I didn't need pity. I didn't need advice, because I knew this: every piece of knowledge I had heard, everything I had learned meant nothing if I couldn't control myself. One morning, I walked to a park near my place. Soft sunlight, quiet air. I sat down on a bench. For the first time in months, I opened the chart on my phone, not to place a trade, just to test one thing. Did my heart still race when price moved? And for the first time, I looked at the chart with complete calm. No opportunity, no sense of loss, just numbers moving. Neutral, cold, like the heartbeat of a stranger. And that's when I realized it no longer pulled me in. In that moment, I knew I had escaped, not from the market, but from the most dangerous version of myself. The version that believed being smart was enough to win. The version that believed I would never lose like everyone else. But in truth, I lost exactly like them, even worse. From then on, I stopped seeing trading as a tool to get rich. I saw it as a test, a way to measure inner strength. Because the market doesn't give you money. It only returns to you exactly what you deserve after stripping away your ego. And if you're clear enough, humble enough, and disciplined with yourself, you can survive. Not because of a strategy, not because you know perfect entries, but because you understand one thing very clearly. You are your greatest asset, and also your greatest risk. If you ask me why, after all those blown accounts, I ever returned to the market, I'll tell you the truth. I didn't plan to. I once swore I would never touch trading again for the rest of my life. And if I hadn't met the people I mentioned in earlier videos, ordinary people, no flash, no showing off, no teaching anyone, yet genuinely living from trading, then maybe I would have completely lost faith in this market forever. And today, I'm telling this story. Just one story out of many I've lived through. Not to teach you anything, not to prove I know more than anyone else, only to let you know this. If you've ever held on too long, blown an account, felt the pain, wanted to delete the app and disappear, you're not alone. Trading isn't for the majority, but it's also not a door reserved only for geniuses. It's for people who are honest enough not to live on illusions and clear enough to understand this. The greatest enemy in trading has never been the market. It has always been you. If I could go back to the beginning, I'd tell myself just one thing. Don't dream of the market giving you money. Learn how to make sure it doesn't take your soul first. I'm not better than you. I've just walked a few steps ahead, and I paid a very expensive price to understand this one truth. Trading doesn't teach you how to get rich. It teaches you to face yourself when there's nothing left.